Hello YouTube and welcome to Formula 1 2019. Here we are for the EWRL Bahrain Grand Prix. The track is open for business here in qualifying. And now drivers working their way out onto the circuit. We're here at the Bahrain International Circuit in Sakir, Bahrain. Invader, last week's winner, became the 32nd different EWRL race winner and the 13th different F1 Grand Prix race winner. I'll try to go back to back here and be the third driver to win multiple races this season. Here comes Ben out here. He's out on an out lap as well. He's trying to make up a large point margin that Marco has on him, but Marco missing the next two races. Ben needs to capitalize the most if he's wanting a shot at the championship at the end of the season.
Oh.
We have Foursquare, also now tied with his teammate in wins this season. He's trying to become the third driver to have multiple race victories this season. And Controller Hog finding his way into the gravel trap.
Yeah, I was playing with my damn menu.
Many things out onto the circuit as well. Controller Hog making his second EWRL F1 start. Many things making his third or fourth.
Third.
To be his third EWRL F1 start. So here we go. Invader on an out lap. Ben on his way to turn 3. Invader on a timed lap. Ben working the circuit nicely. Nice racing line through the first sector, heading in here now to the treacherous turn number 10. Under braking here, catches out a lot of drivers. He heads onto the second DRS straight. Sorry, third DRS straight, that is right. The straightaway between turns 2 and 3 is a DRS straight. And on his way down to the final set of corners, many things letting the faster car by. Motorsports finds himself onto the racetrack for an out lap. Ben goes wide through the final corner. And to the start finish line, here comes Ben. He goes a 1:28.454. Invader now into the final corner. Where does he stack up against Ben? DRS there, coming to the start finish line. It is a 1:28.492. Very close in lap time. Foursquare heading to the start finish line now. He ends up third on the charts, a 1:29.292. Controller Hog on a timed lap, heading to the final set of corners. Many things as well, and Motorsports on timed laps. Dan still in the pit lane. Here comes Controller Hog through the final corner. He goes wide and around goes Controller Hog! Making light contact with the inside wall. Somehow keeps that front wing intact. Impressive. Keeping that front wing there.
Well, I want to go in reverse. Gotta hold the fucking steering wheel straight.
Controller Hog makes his way back to the pit lane. Here comes Many Things. Many Things onto the front straightaway. He will go fourth of 4 quick. He will go a 1:31.436. Motorsports on the timed lap. See what he can do. Not using DRS there, so I believe he's gonna try it again.
You're good, Invader. Oh, I got you.
Looks like Invader and Foursquare looking to go on another set of timed laps again.
I'm coming in.
And here comes Foursquare. Invader's going on another lap. Here comes Motorsports to the start-finish line. Motorsports, do you know what DRS is?
Yeah, he knows.
Okay. He just didn't open the back wing on his qualifying lap. I'm just like, working his way around the circuit now. He did post a time. I will not believe that that is his timed lap. It's a 144.419. But right now, on a flyer, now he opens the back wing. He hits it on the third DRS straight of his lap for the first time. Dan on an out lap, controller as well.
Who's coming down the front stretch?
The Invader goes top of the charts, a 128.312. How about that for Invader trying to go back-to-back poles?
Oh.
Looks like Motorsports possibly out of fuel.
I don't get how you got a second lap out of there, Invader. Barely.
Here comes Controller Hog on a timed lap. Up the gears we go. So right now, Invader top of the charts, a 128.312. Ben sat second, Foursquare third, Many Things fourth, Motorsports fifth. We're still waiting on timed laps from Controller Hog and Dan. Foursquare, Many Things, they make their way out onto the racetrack for out laps. Invader on a cooldown lap. Motorsports on a very slow cooldown lap. He's out of fuel. Controller Hog, Dan, they're on timed laps. On board of Controller Hog now through the first sector. We're now into sector 2. Nice livery Dan is sporting. Caution in sectors 1, 2, and 3. Much oversteer through the high-speed right-hander for Controller Hog causes him to be really slow through that corner. Here he comes down a short shoot to the final corner. And Controller Hog 2, the start-finish line. He will go 5th of 6 quickest, a 1:33.213, and now two-time F1 Series champion Dan on a flyer here at Bahrain into the final corner, and now to the start finish line. Dan goes 4th of 7. He goes a 1:30.127, your two-time series champ. Foursquare right now sat third, trying to improve upon his lap time. Many Things tracking in the green. Here comes Foursquare through the final corner and to the start finish line. He improves into the same second bracket as his teammate and Ben. He goes a 128.982 but does not improve on position. Here comes Many Things trying to maybe get to fourth. Right now tracking into green. Goes a little wide through turn 12. Or 13, I believe. Controller hog out of fuel. Motorsports back onto the pit lane. Here goes Many Things. Through the final corner now. Up the gears we go. On the throttle. To the start finish line. Many Things. Improves on his lap time, but does not improve on position. Invader, Ben on out laps now. Nobody on a timed lap. Everybody on cooldown laps are back in the pit lane. Ben will be the first driver to start another timed lap here with under 6 minutes remaining here in qualifying. Up the gears we go with Ben. Let's see how Ben, who looks to take over the championship lead in a couple weeks here. Let's see how he fares on an out lap and maybe missing a turn into turn 1. Ben goes wide through turn 6. Invader on an out lap. Now coming to the final corner. I believe Many Things is going to try it again, or he's coming back to the pit lane. Coming back to the pit lane for Many Things. So Ben right now tracking in the green, but just barely. I mean, he's got to be absolutely perfect between Invader and Ben here. Invader right now tracking in the green. Ben tracking in the green as well. Through the final corner. Ben up the gears. DRS enabled. Goes top of the charts, a 128.153 for Ben. But here comes Invader, trying to outdo him once again. Now coming to 4.5 minutes remaining. Invader now onto the short chute. Dan on an out lap. Invader trying to regain the pole. To the start finish line comes Invader. And into the 127 bracket, our fourth provisional pole sitter of the session. Invader goes at 127.963. The provisional pole sitter has changed now for its third time of the session. It was Ben. Invader topped it. Then Ben topped it. Now Invader's topped it once again. Coming to 3 minutes remaining here in qualifying. Do they have another crack at it? Here comes Ben into the pit lane for one final try, I believe. Invader's probably gonna race it back to even have a shot. Here comes Dan on a timed lap. Many Things on an out lap. We have Foursquare, Controller Hog, and Motorsports in the pit lane as well. Can Dan maybe crack the podium? Or does he have something left in the tank that he hasn't been showing us this session? Dan goes wide through turn 5. He's probably going to abort this lap. That's exactly what he's going to do. Now we watch many things on a timed lap. Here comes Controller Hog on an out lap. Invader into the pit lane. I have about 2 minutes remaining. I don't know if he'll have the time to get back around the circuit. I mean, this crew's got to hurry up and get those tires on. He's got to race it all the way around the circuit. Ben on an out lap now. Dan aborted his lap. He's on a cooldown lap. Or on another warm-up lap. Controller Hog goes wide on his out lap. Motorsports Foursquare in the pit lane, trying to see if Invader can make it out.
Whoa!
Coming close to a minute remaining here.
Fuck.
And a 5-place grid penalty, a collision with Many Things. They must have got into each other. I believe Many Things also has front wing damage. Oh, that's gotta hurt. I believe he was on a timed lap.
Yeah, sorry. I made a bad decision on car setup. I went way too loose.
I believe that's going to do it for Many Things. He'll maybe abort it and try again, but he does have a damaged front wing. We will see. Invader's going to try to get back around the circuit. I don't know if he'll have the time to do it. What's the timer at?
50 seconds.
He will not have the time to come back around. Ben will. So Invader has no defense here. He's only got to hope that Ben does not run faster. Ben begins a timed lap. Dan on a timed lap. Many Things on another timed lap. Controller Hog on a timed lap. Foursquare Motorsports Invader, they have got to commit with their timed laps this session. Here we go. Invader, try as he might, he will not even come close to making it back around. But he did try. Here comes Dan through the final set of corners. I believe he's tracking in the green. Into the final corner. Dan goes third quickest, a 128.461. Now we have Many Things on it. Where does he end up? Tracking in the green, but a pretty big margin between 4th and 5th place now. Many Things to the start-finish line. He will stay 5th quickest, but improve. Here comes Controller Hog to the start-finish line. Controller Hog does not improve on the time and will stay 6th. And now it's Ben. Does he get there? I don't believe he got it. He did not get the pull. So Invader, he tried to come around to try to defend his lap, but he's not even going to have to. Ben did not get there. He did not even improve on his lap there at the end. So Invader and Ben will make up the front row. Dan and Foursquare make up row 2. Many Things Controller Hog will not make up row 3, as Many Things in Motorsports will make up row 3, and Controller Hog will be starting from the moon.
Yeah, I got a 5-place grid penalty.
They're not going to put you in the 11th grid box, they'll just put you 7th.
So I lost 2 spots, 1 spot, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't change the setup neither once I've fucking done this. Oh, I'm in trouble.
Park for me.
Yeah, Park for me is on.
How do you adjust the wing? Just the differential, that's it?
You can adjust the front wing. You'd have to pit and replace the front wing, I believe, right?
You can do the front wing in the pits, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Differential on the track, brake bias on the track.
Is it possible to go for a one-stop?
I don't know. Y'all tell me. We have a
Not for
29
adjustment.
lapper on our hands here, but before we get the 29 laps going, we got the all-important formation lap underway here at the Bahrain International Circuit. So here we go. Do our starting lineup. On the front row, we have last week's race winner, the Australian Grand Prix winner, and first-time race winner, Invader, starting on the front row, trying to go back-to-back to start his career wins here in EWRL's F1 series. Ben starts second, looking to make up a massive amount of points in the next 2 weeks as the points leader, Markle, who has a 46-point lead entering this race, will quickly be dwindled down through the next 2 races, provided that Ben can make large indents into that. So Ben will be racing his heart out for pretty much his season. We have Brother Dan to Ben starting third in that nice hot pink livery. Mostly hot pink livery. It's a multicolored livery in that number 12. Row 4, we are alongside him in row 2, we have Foursquare, teammate to Invader. Both of them looking for their second wins of the season, Invader and Foursquare. Row 3, we have Many Things making his third EWRL F1 start. Motorsports making his second EWRL F1 start, starts beside him, and Controller Hog got a 5-place grid penalty. He's also making his second EWRL F1 start. So, everybody in this field are rookies besides brothers Ben and Dan. Invader, Foursquare making their, I believe, 10th Grand Prix start each. And then Many Things making his third, Motorsports, Control Hard making their second. While meanwhile, Ben and Dan have both won double-digit amount of Grand Prix in this series. But here we go, 29 laps on our hands here at the Bahrain International Circuit here in Shakir, Bahrain. The drivers, they're gridded up and ready to go. We've got 5 red lights. You know what that means? It's time to bring the action because lights out and away we go. Invader did not get a great start, but Ben got a better start. Here comes Many Things up the inside, looking for the race lead. He's going to dive it into turn 1. He goes wide through the corner. Now Ben fighting up the inside, and Invader will try to regain a race lead side by side with Ben up the short chute. Up the inside, Ben trying to clear Invader. Invader fighting hard on the outside. Dan in third. Contact in the back, and around goes Controller Hog.
That's good.
Right now, Ben, Invader, Dan, Foursquare, Many Things, your top 5. Motorsports, Controller Hog, they had some contact in the back. Up front, Ben trying to fend off Invader. Dan on the podium.
I made a bad decision with this fucking setup.
Right now, Dan trying to fend off Foursquare. Here comes Many Things up the inside of Foursquare with an aggressive overtake. That was actually really aggressive. So Ben opening up his gap now to 0.8 of a second here as you complete lap number 1. Ben sets the fastest lap, a 1:34.876 on the soft compound on the opening lap of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Dan right now trying to fend off Many Things and Foursquare for the podium position. Many Things breathing down the gearbox of Dan. Controller Hog and Motorsports are going to be going toe-to-toe for the 6th position most of this Grand Prix. Ben now opens up his lead to over a second, but I think under braking, Invader was able to close it once again, now down to 0.8 of a second. And this is going to be important if Invader can stay within this distance. Coming around, as Ben goes a little wide, he misses his apex in turn 10 there, and here comes Invader. Invader now closes the gap to 4/10 of a second. Now under 4 to 3/10 of a second. Dan 2 seconds behind race leader Ben. Just over a second behind second place Invader. And now everybody is in a different position from where they started except for Dan. And a 1:33.210. Dan sets a 1:33.022. Is he back to his championship form? Invader closing the gap. He'll have DRS the next time they hit a DRS detection zone. Or he needs to hold on to it. He's about to lose it now to 9/10 of a second the gap now. Many things to third. Foursquare fourth. They're going 3 wide for the podium spot. Foursquare up the inside. Many things being very aggressive. And a huge move in Many things goes off the circuit. Back onto the circuit. That might be a corner cutting penalty. Or a warning at the least. Slides wide. Here comes Foursquare up the inside. Side by side for third. Up the hill they go. Many things a huge dive to the inside. He's sliding. A caution in sector 2. Motorsports. And now Many things falls back to the 5th position up the inside of Dan. Really being aggressive. Not sure why he's so aggressive right now. Invader able to...
I keep losing it under brakes.
And then round goes Invader! Has to keep the car under control. I was just about to mention how he was within 1 second of Ben. Not any longer. A 1:32.735, the fastest lap from Ben. And now Invader over 2 seconds behind Ben. And a caution in sector 1. Goes Motorsports to the pit lane. So now Ben opening up his lead to 2.2 seconds over Invader. Foursquare finally, somebody cleared for the 3rd position. Foursquare over Dan, and there's a caution in sector 2. Around goes Controller Hog. Having issues with the car. He did not have the right setup inputted before he entered the racetrack for qualifying. And Parc Ferme is enforced in the EWRL F1 series. And he was not able to adjust his setup from there.
I hope they do that fucking... Hope they do that fucking wing adjustment for me.
The gap between Ben and Invader has stayed constant at 2.3 seconds. Foursquare opening up the gap to Dan for 3rd. Everybody started this race on the soft compound besides Motorsports. He started this race on the medium compound. Motorsports also the only driver to make a pit stop so far into this race. He has fitted the hards. Working lap 5 of 29 here at Bahrain. Right now Ben holds the fastest lap. which is very important. If Ben is able to pull off this Grand Prix victory and get this fastest lap point, he will gain 26 points on Markle, who is gaining 0 points from this race. That means entering the next Grand Prix weekend, he will have a 20-point deficit to make up. Here comes Invader into the pit lane, by the way. He'll have a 20-point deficit to make up next week at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya in Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix. And that is very doable. He will also, going into the next race, you know, expecting that Ben is able to close the deal and get the fastest lap point, would be 1 point behind Marco with a second place finish and the fastest lap point next week at the Spain Grand Prix. So a lot of racing to go, and a lot of things can go wrong, and a lot of things can go right. Working lap 6 of 29, just a very important stretch of races for Ben, because when Marco does make his eventual return to the F1 series, we will be joining him at the Austrian Grand Prix, which is one of Marco's strongest racetracks on the circuit. A caution in sectors 2 and 3. That's Dan going around. Sat third on the circuit now, and I believe he collided with many things. What happened there?
We didn't collide. I just happened to spin at the same time he did.
Oh, both of these drivers must have hit auto spin curbs. Dan and many things. They both pit. Invader has fitted a set of fresh mediums, and right now sat in the third position, 24.1 seconds behind race leader Ben. Ben holds a 7-second lead over Foursquare. Many things go shooting off the track in turn 1. And around goes the race leader, Ben! He spins on the auto spin curb. And there goes Foursquare to the race lead. And there's a left rear puncture on the number 24. And needing to capitalize big time on this Grand Prix. Here comes Foursquare into the pit lane. Probably the best move to make right now. Ben still got a Cosa to the pit lane. It's giving way to Invader. There he goes. Invader also takes the fastest lap point away from Ben, a 152.287. So race leader Ben, or I guess ex-race leader Ben, comes out in the 5th position on a fresh set of mediums. Now, I am very, very confident that Ben has the capability to get back into the race leader of this Grand Prix. Though it's going to be very hard and a lot of things have to go right. Let's see if he can get back into a race lead position, or at least a point where he can maybe get to 2nd place with the fastest lap to have a nice chance going into Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. This puts many things into the 4th position. Dan, who also spun out and almost slides there in turn 10, back into the 3rd position. Invader pits comes out as the race leader on a fresh set of mediums, 8 seconds in front of teammate Foursquare. Both of these drivers only have one win on the season. Both of these drivers, I believe, are making their 10th EWRL F1 Grand Prix start and trying, at least one of them is trying to, well, they're both trying, but one will come out of here, if at this point, with a victory over another, you know, provided that they go 20 laps mistake-free. A tall task in any F1 Grand Prix. So Invader right now on the medium compounds and 2 lap older tires than his teammate. Dan takes the fastest lap point now, a 1:31.426 on the soft compound. So Invader has 2 lap older tires and the slower compound compared to teammate Foursquare, who's chasing him down in the 2nd position. There's a caution in sector 2 and 3. That is Motorsports spinning on the same curb that race leader Ben and Dan also did spin out on that curb. So, or in that corner. So, Motorsports not the first person to make the mistake there in that corner. So Invader with the race lead here, 7.5 seconds out in front of his teammate Foursquare. Interesting turn of events here in the first third of this Bahrain Grand Prix. Foursquare closing the gap little by little, down to 7.2 seconds. Dan, can this be a race? Dan capitalizes. He is Meyer 19 seconds back. He did also spin. Many things, and Ben going toe to toe. Many things shows Ben way off the circuit. Up the inside goes Many Things, being very aggressive on Ben. Here goes Ben up the inside. And there goes Ben into the 4th position and driving away with the advantage of the RS. They both slide, Ben and Many Things. Motorsports controller hog. Toe-to-toe for the 6th position. Motorsports has it now. Seven seconds, the gap between Invader and Foursquare. Now Foursquare is broken into the 7-second bracket and continues to close. Dan has actually lost time to race leader Invader. And Ben now closing the gap on brother Dan. Many Things trying to go length for length here with Ben. At least try to stay in the same wavelength as Ben, and around goes Controller Hog. I believe that is the 5th victim that corner has claimed today.
And when I was practicing, I was so good up through there. I chose the loosest chassis I could choose. It was a bad idea.
Well, you can hear Controller admitting to his own struggles. Turn 12 has claimed many victims today. Dan being the first of them. Many Things shortly following that. Race leader Ben did spin Ben when he wasn't a race lead. Motorsports was the 4th victim, and now Controller Hog being the 5th victim there. And that spin makes him go 1 lap down to race leader Invader. Only 2 souls left for turn 12 to claim today, and we're only working lap 12 of 29. Turn 12, everybody's favorite trouble spot, the long sweeping right-hander. Coming into this race, everybody was talking about VS's, 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 and I see that turn 12 has caught the most people out. Very interesting to see what people prioritize going into this race. The gap 6.7 seconds between Invader and Foursquare. Invader and Foursquare both very smooth through that corner. Ben has not been able to make a large indent into the gap that Dan has over him for the 3rd position.
Thank you, controller. Yep.
So controller lets Foursquare by. Very gentleman-esque move of him, and I wouldn't expect anything less from Controller Hog. Six seconds the gap now between teammates. Race leader Invader holds 6 seconds over second place Foursquare. 21 seconds behind race leader Invader. You'll find Dan slowly falling into the clutches of his brother Ben. A caution in sector 3. This time Motorsports goes around. I believe the second time Motorsports has been claimed by turn 12. Here comes race leader Invader to put him 1 lap down here in the Bahrain Grand Prix. Invader approaching the halfway point of this race as he begins lap 14 of 29. Next time by will be halfway, or I guess to get technical, to come halfway around a lap on lap 14 will be halfway through the Grand Prix. And now, maybe the life of the soft tires starting to be exposed a little bit. The gap is now stabilized at 6 seconds, where Invader's 8-lap mediums have not been now losing time to Foursquare 6-lap-old soft tires. And here comes brother Ben on brother Dan. Ben finding the gearbox of Dan, but didn't make contact. Just taking a good examination of Dan's gearbox. Side by side now. The brothers going for 3rd. Dan lets him by with ease. And both of them going through turn 12 like they got ice skates on. Now Invader starting to open up a gap on his teammate Foursquare. Now 6.3 seconds the gap, 9 lap old mediums on race leader, 7 lap old softs on second place Foursquare. Now past the halfway point of this Grand Prix. Will Invader make a second pit stop this race? I believe he did pit kind of early for those mediums. I don't know if those mediums are going to last, but we will see. Invader continues helping the gap now, 6.7 seconds. And now Ben has cleared Dan. He now set the sights on the two teammates in front of him. It's a 21-second advantage he's got to make up in 14 laps. Very, very doubtful unless Ben can maybe go longer on his tires than the other two, provided those two don't pit. Dan comes into the pit lane after spending 9 laps on his soft tires. He pits for a fresh set of mediums, and he could probably go to the end now. Many things goes to 4th. That being said, then we expect many things in Foursquare into the pit lane soon. 7.3 seconds a gap between the top two as Ben misses his apex in turn 9. He'll lose a few tenths there to Invader. Invader trying to go back to back here. Here comes Foursquare to the pit lane. He should be pitting for a set of mediums and going to the end. That is what's happening. Yep, that was a long pit stop, as he said. Now, can Ben go to the end on his set of mediums? I doubt he can, but it'll be interesting to see if he can. But he will also have a Foursquare breathing down his neck. And a 5-second time penalty for many things speeding into the pit lane. There's a caution in Sector 1 also. Many things is down and away, and now many things on the tail end of the lead lap. And now everybody in this field on a set of mediums besides Motorsports, who's working a set of hards. Invader, 21 seconds his advantage out in front, and he's coming to the pit lane. There's a caution in Sector 3. That's Motorsports going around again, the third time in turn 12. That is a tough corner. Again, 5 drivers been caught out there today. Invader is down and away. Now can Ben get there?
Did you say something?
The caution in sectors 2 and 3. Dan goes around. And now Ben retakes over the race lead just in front of Invader.
Because this is what it's told me to do. It's not want me to do it.
This is important here. Can Ben hold off Invader with 10 lap older tires? Can he pressure Invader maybe into making a mistake?
You should just set these up so they were going to hold them.
Very important few laps here for Ben. And there's a caution in sector 1. A difference of 10 laps on race leader Ben's tires over second place Invader. Invader also has the help of DRS. Closing the gap, peeking to the inside here into turn 11. They're going to be side by side. Invader goes wide. Ben very smooth through turn 12. Trying to get the DRS and maybe fight back here. Here comes Ben into the pit lane. So now, Invader has a 10.5 second gap over Foursquare. How did he gain such a large gap in the pit lane? Foursquare goes to second. Must have made a mistake either coming off the final corner or has to manually slow down for pit road speed. Ben is down and away, 12 seconds behind Foursquare. And ultimately, I think that would be Ben's goal, is to gain 12 seconds. So, Invader with a 10-second lead over Foursquare, a 22-second lead over Ben, a 30-second lead over Dan, and a 40-second lead over Many Things.
Oh, Jesus.
And around goes controller. No, he just goes wide.
Yeah, just wild.
And a 3-second time penalty for Many Things for multiple warnings, and I believe it was only a matter of time for him because he has just been so aggressive this race. I could see him corner cutting, exceeding track limits many times this Grand Prix. It only took him a while. Controller Hog into the pit lane, gives up the 6th position to Motorsports. Ben has not made any indent in the gap, but he's not lost any time either. The top 4 drivers have either 1, 2, 3, or 4 lap old tires amongst the top 4. The top 5, I guess. As Many Things as have 3 lap old tires. Foursquare's got 3 lap old tires. Invader now has 3 lap old tires as he crosses the start finish line, which means Foursquare and Many Things will have 4, Ben will have 2, and Dan will have 5 lap old tires. Motorsports not being caught by 5th place Many Things. This will be interesting to see what goes down here. How aggressive will Many Things be trying to pass a lapped car? And I think Motorsports takes the very smart move, not even putting up a fight. "11 seconds, the gap between Invader and Foursquare. 8 laps remaining here in the Bahrain Grand Prix. And Ben with the fastest lap, a 1:31.277. Very important point for him. No indents being made on any gaps. Invader just continues to drive a near perfect race along with teammate Foursquare as they come to 7 laps remaining here in the Bahrain Grand Prix. Invader approaching a 12-second lead over second place and teammate Foursquare. I mean, it's been phenomenal. Like I said, the 32nd and 31st different winners in EWRL are first and second in terms of most recent. Invader being the most recent first-time winner. Foursquare second. And I also realized that we have our 30th different EWRL winner in the lobby as well, as Controller Hog was the 30th different first-time winner in EWRL when he last ran a NASCAR race and won. So our last 3 first-time winners in the lobby. But Invader trying to take his number to 2. Coming around to 6 laps to go now, 12 seconds of gap. Ben has closed his gap to race leader Invader to 8 seconds. The gap between himself and second place Foursquare is 8.3 seconds. Ben closing the gap now to 7.5 seconds. Maybe it's not over. Can Ben get to Foursquare? All he's got to do is get within 1 second to have a shot at an overtake. With 6 laps to go. Also, Ben with the fastest lap again, a 1:31.264. Motorsports did pit. 5 laps to go, fitted a set of soft tires, but everybody else has sets of mediums on. The gaps have plateaued. 12.5 seconds again up front. 7.5 seconds to third. Dan, 15 seconds behind Ben, and 15 seconds in front of Many Things. Controller Hog, 13 seconds behind 6th place Motorsports. 5 laps to go here for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Invader trying to go back-to-back to start his career in terms of race victories. Marco missing today's EWRL Bahrain Grand Prix means there will not be a single driver this season who has made every start of the season. Marco is the last driver to miss a Grand Prix start this season in terms of start streaks from the beginning of the season. Marco enters this race with a 46-point lead, and at the moment he'll be leaving this race with a 30-point lead exactly. Invader trying to claw his way back in to a point battle. Right now he entered this race 30 points behind teammate Foursquare and 16 points ahead of Dan. This now, if it were to end the way it does, has Invader down to a 23-point deficit to third place in points Foursquare. This also gives Invader 13 points to his already 16-point lead over Dan, which makes it a 29-point margin to 5th place in points Dan. The next closest in points is Larry Arsenal, sat 6th in points with 25. Malico Claudius, 20 apiece, tied for 7th. Octane sat 9th with 16. He also voluntarily missed tonight's race in terms that he would have hurt the quality of the race with his internet not being up to his normal internet. He is on Wi-Fi and currently away from home, and I value him in taking one for the team, thinking of the quality of the race. Many Things also tied for 9th in the points. Will definitely be leaving this race right now with 10 points to his name. He will be leaving this race in 6th in points. A nice one for Many Things. Controller Hog trying to add to his point total. There's a caution in sectors 2 and 3. That's Ben! Ben goes around for third. He's got to get back going if he wants third. There's no damage to that front wing, no visible damage. And now Dan closes down to 5 seconds between himself and his brother. And a caution in sector 2. There goes Many Things around. Oh, and he almost collects Motorsports. And a caution in sectors 2 and 3. No, that's Many Things just getting up to speed. So hold the phone. Everything getting a little haywire here towards the end of this Grand Prix. 2.5 laps to go for Invader. Many Things just trying to make it out of here now alive. Has the opportunity to come out of this race 6th in points. Here comes Invader. 2 laps to go at Bahrain. Many things into the pit lane.
Nigger!
Appreciate whoever Shredvet is. Apologize for that interference with our broadcast.
It was an unruly fan.
Unruly fan. Yeah, dislikes the quality of racing being put out there.
I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't mean to spin out. Don't take it out on the rest of.
A lap and a half to go here for Invader. Trying to go back to back for his first 2 career victories. Just over 1 lap remaining. Motorsports about locks his first points of the season. He did start last week, but did not make it to the 90% mark, so he did not get credited with points last Grand Prix. 1 lap to go here at Bahrain. It's a 17-second lead Invader has over Foursquare. 31 seconds back is Ben. 40 seconds back of race leader is Dan. Many things, Motorsports Controller Hog, all 1 lap down. Ben holds the fastest lap. And now, into the final sector comes Invader. He will make it through turn 12 unscathed. And Foursquare will make it through turn 12 unscathed. Here comes Invader through the final corner and almost colliding at the end. Invader will win here at Bahrain. Controller Hog does cross the line there, almost colliding with the race leader.
Sorry,
Invader,
I didn't want to have to do another lap.
Invader wins here at Bahrain. Here comes Foursquare for second. Later tonight, we'll have Ben coming home for third. And tune in next week, you'll see Dan come home in 4th. And the fastest lap goes even faster, a 1:31.035 for Ben there on the last lap. Here comes Dan.
What happened?
Dan comes home 4th, and we'll have Motorsports 1 lap down, but looks to be coming home in the 6th position.
Damn, I don't know why I changed my chassis right at the fucking last minute. What an idiot. I was running 132s and 133s, so I wasn't that far off. But that chassis was
there's
just way too
Motorsports
fucking
crossing the
loose.
line in 6th.
There we go.
So Invader goes back to back to start his career in terms of race victories. Moves ahead of a whole bunch of people to somewhere in the 20s on the all-time wins list.
Yeah.
Sharky shark.
Foursquare comes home second. It is a 1-2 finish for Shark Racing. And Ben comes home third. Not the most advantage he could have taken of this race, but a good enough advantage to get out of here. Has a 30-point deficit to point leader Markle. Invader, Foursquare, Ben, your podium. Dan comes home fourth. Many Things, 1 lap down in fifth. Motorsports, 1 lap down in sixth. And Controller Hog, 2 laps down in seventh. Many Things ended this race with a 3-second time penalty. Also had a penalty for speeding on pit road. That was 5 seconds, and that was assessed later in the race. Your pole sitter wins 2 weeks in a row, and it's the same driver 2 weeks in a row. Also, something of note, all 7 drivers that started the Grand Prix did finish the Grand Prix today. So,
all right, Motorsports, we're even. Yeah, that's it. Me and him's just fighting between me and him.
All right, so Ben got home third. I guess that is an upside to what had happened to you early in the race. What had happened?
I blew a left rear tire.
Is that really what happened? Like you just were running through the corner, you blew a tire? Oh my gosh, that's wild. How were you able to get back to third? Was it just other people making mistakes, or?
I was fast.
I mean, straight and to the point. I love it.
Hey, I hate where do y'all race at next week? Where's the race next week?
Spain, Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona, the Spanish Grand Prix.
Gotcha. All right, man, that was fun. Appreciate it.
See you next week. That is true. That's wild. Choking on air here. But yeah, congratulations on the fastest lap. You're now down to a 30-point deficit on Markle, and we are pretty sure he won't show up to the next race. So, how much of an advantage will next week be in terms of your chances at a championship? Alright, very simple responses, but accurate responses from Ben. Congratulations on the 3rd place finish. We'll see you next week for the Spanish Grand Prix. We're joined by 2nd place finisher Foursquare. Foursquare, how about it? A 2nd place finish? You feel deserve it? How does it feel to finish 2nd?
Yeah, I'll take it, that's for sure. I mean, first off, congrats to Invader. Back-to-back wins, that's good for Team Shark. Yeah, I knew Invader and Ben were definitely the top 2 quickest, and I would probably be battling for 3rd. But hey, you know, I'll take whatever the race gives me, and as long as you stay clean, you know, get to the finish. That's the goal.
Yep. Is there anything you could have done differently to maybe get your teammate, or was he just that far ahead?
Maybe in the setup. I mean, I went a little aggressive on the on losing downforce, you know, for getting to top speed, you know. So they were definitely quicker than me in sector 2. So I mean, I could have done something different there, but I don't know. I was comfortable with setup 4, so I like that.
All right, well, congratulations on the 2nd place finish and the podium finish. You do still hold, I believe, 3rd in points. So.
All right. Sounds good.
Now we're joined by race winner Invader, back-to-back wins. How about that?
I like it. That one was a little more tough than last week's. But last week's was kind of crazy, so I could relax. But yeah, this week's I had the pole and kind of made a mistake coming out of the last turn. Let Ben get away right when I was gonna get DRS to be able to attack him a little bit. Yeah, and that kind of thought that was going to be my race over. So I tried to short pit and run a little bit faster when I came out of the pits the first time. But then I heard that he had an incident, so I was able to kind of take it back a little bit, and I just tried to keep my teammate within 7 seconds or around 7 seconds behind me.
So I know a championship at this point of the season for where you are in points is far-fetched, but looking at the battle for third, I think it is now a 23-point lead that your teammate has over you for the third position in points. How do you feel about maybe closing that gap throughout the rest of the Grand Prix this season?
I think we would be a good challenge for both of us to duke it out for third. I mean, it's only going to help the team as long as we stay clean and, kind of like this race, both of us stayed pretty clean the whole race. No real big spins or anything. So, if we keep it like that, then Team Shark's going to probably take away the constructors, which is great.
You two were the only two drivers not to spin out by turn 12 today.
Yeah. It almost got me on the last lap, but I was able to keep it under control.
How about qualifying? You and Ben going back and forth for the provisional pole the entire session. How was that?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really quick in qualifying. I'm not sure why. I can't really translate that to the race pace. I don't know if it has to do with just tire deg or whatever, but on those single laps, I can keep up with Markle and Ben. So, I mean, that's something that I've gotten better at, and hopefully that'll start translating to the race more, and I'll be able to, battle with them more up at the top and stay with them, which I thought I could have hung with Ben today if I didn't make any mistakes. So, I'm getting better.
Well, congratulations on the win. Back-to-back wins here for your first two victories. And we'll see you next week for the Spanish Grand Prix.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be that good there. That's my worst track.
Well, we will see.
Yep. All right.